नमस्कार, मी सिद्धार्थ चांदेकर. अर्बनली प्रेझेंट्स मशाल 2.0 को स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय 1993 अ सलॉन कंपनी या कार्यक्रमात तुम्हा सगळ्यांचं मनापासून स्वागत करतोय. मंडळी, आज आपण गप्पा मारणार आहोत वाहबीज भारूच्या बरोबर, जी आहे इंडियन विमेन रग्बी प्लेअर. सो भारतात रग्बीची काय परिस्थिती आहे, भारतात रग्बी कसं खेळलं जातं, विमेन्स रग्बीची काय परिस्थिती आहे, हे आपण तिच्याकडून जाणून घेणार आहोत. तिच्याबरोबर गप्पा मारायला खूप मजा येते आणि तिचं एक खूप मोठं स्वप्न आहे, इंडियन विमेन्स रग्बीला तिला ऑलिम्पिक्स पर्यंत घेऊन जायचं. ते ती कसं घेऊन जाणार आहे हे आपण तिच्याकडून जाणून घेऊया. भेटूया.
Yep.
Yeah, now it's good.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
All right, perfect.
Yeah. How have you been and how are you doing? First of all, after this humongous lockdowns we faced, 2 lockdowns and horrible lockdowns.
I actually tried to make the most of my lockdown by learning a new skill, by keeping myself in touch with my training, because tomorrow if they told us that, oh, okay, lockdown's opened up and now we have to play a tournament, I need to be ready. So I made the most of all the time I had, क्योंकि जब भी हम लोग, let's just say 2009 and previous, we would say,
Okay.
we don't get time to train, and now boom, you have all the time, do what you want. So we were training like twice and thrice a day, and it was actually absolutely perfect.
Wow. Vahbiz, it's really a pleasure, and honestly it's an honor to talk to you today.
Same here.
Let me tell you, I won't say that I'm a huge fan of rugby and I watch rugby all the time. But the thing is, there is something in rugby which I watch in films most of the times. We don't get to watch rugby over here on our televisions, which are not telecasted. Okay, yeah. They are not broadcasted many a times. But whenever I watch it in films, I really feel that this sport, you really need some guts to play that sport. Like I won't be able to play that sport. I really feel that I won't be able to play that sport because it is like I can't describe the sport since I haven't played it ever. But all I can say about it is that it's my feeling. You can say it's a third person's point of view. You can say that the guts required to play that sport, the dedication required to play that sport is enormous, and that's what you have. That's what you have been doing for the past 12 years, and that is outstanding. That is really outstanding, because rugby is something which was not known to India for the last, say, 20 years.
Yeah,
you can say that.
About, yes.
Now, almost like, but now people know it. Now people know you, and when they know you, they know rugby. So I really feel that there's always one person who lights the fire, and then it becomes a revolution. There's always one person. I really want to know, are you that person for Indian rugby, Indian women rugby? What do you feel? Do you consider yourself as that person?
No, I don't consider myself as a person, but I consider myself as one of the people, only because rugby is a team game, and we've had so many women who've added their little bit to that fire every day, every year that has passed of women's rugby since 2009. Not only women, but even coaches who've come and gone and who've contributed largely to get women's rugby and rugby to the stage that it is today. So I won't say that I'm the only person who's lit that fire. I'm also fueling it by every year that I keep playing and by every action of mine. But there have been many people before me and alongside me who are continuously putting fuel into that fire. So I'll consider myself as one of the many, but not the only.
Amazing. How did rugby happen to you? How were you introduced to rugby first?
It actually happened very organically, Siddharth. I was in my 10th grade and always been a sports person. So I had played, you can name the sport and I've played it in school. But I was playing Yeah.
Really? My God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I was my main sport was handball,
Mm-hmm.
and I was playing that on the state for the state on the national
Dastur
level.
College, Dastur School, right?
That's to school. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in Pune.
So from the yes, so from the
Okay.
school, I was playing handball for 3 years for the state,
Okay.
and the 10th standard came, and principal said that okay, Vahbiz, abhi sports khelna sab band. Now you focus on your board exams.
Okay.
So I was in class studying one day, and one kid came to the classroom saying that Vahbiz, Sanjay sir has called you. Sanjay sir is our sports coach in school. Sanjay sir has called you. So I get out of my class and I see from the other classroom Neha Pardeshi, who's now my teammate, and we play on the same team, and she's the
Okay.
vice captain of the Indian women's rugby team.
Wow.
So I see her coming out of that class, and I'm coming out of this class, and we've always been like teammates through everything, and literally partners in crime. And our classroom was on the third floor, and they were standing on the ground floor. So
Okay.
our entire journey downstairs, still down, I was telling Neha that, did you go and tell sir something about me? She's like, no, I didn't tell him anything. Probably you told him something about us. Then we both were thinking, did he catch some, musty of ours, and are we going to be called to like get beaten up or something like that? So whenever
Okay.
Sanjay sir called us down, it was like either a very good news or a very bad news. So we go down, and as we turned around and we saw there were these two huge gentlemen standing, like typical rugby players,
Mm-hmm.
alongside our PT coach.
Mm-hmm.
So one's name is Surud Khare, and the other gentleman was Sandeep Singh.
Okay.
So we saw them, and for a moment we were intimidated. Like never seen such big men in our lives. So then we were introduced to him,
Okay.
and Surud Khare is basically the main founder and coach of the Pune women's rugby team, and also a club in Pune called as Kafandra,
Mm-hmm.
spelled Kfandra, which stands
Mm-hmm.
for Khare's Football and Rugby Academy. And
Okay.
Sandeep Singh, he used to be in the army, but
Okay.
he was at that point of time he was coaching around with different clubs around the country.
Okay.
So so our coach introduced us to them, and Surut sir, he looked at me and he's like, my God, you should try the sport of rugby. You'll absolutely love it. And he looked at Neha and he said, my girl, you have the speed. Just come and watch the game once. So Neha and I look at each other, like 16-year-old, 15-year-olds, so curious about what is this sport. We both knew what rugby was, but
Mm-hmm.
we looked at each other and we're like, now what? This is like a new chapter for us. So we go home and we tell our parents. So I come to my house and I speak to my father, and I was like, I sit my parents down first, and I tell them that, mom, dad, it's like this full proper scenario, okay? That,
Mm-hmm.
this coach came to our school and he's a rugby coach. I'm not too sure whether, I should join the game, because I've also played wrestling, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like the concept of, tackling someone to bring them down. It just didn't
Okay.
settle well with me. So I was like, I'm not sure whether I want to do this game. And he's like, can you stop talking like a girl and go for the sessions whenever he's called you? And that was just like a go signal for me. So that's how I ended up joining the sport.
Wow.
And Neha and I both ended up going to watch a rugby game that happened on the outskirts of the city, which was organized by the Kafandra club.
Okay.
Um, so we watched this game, and we were completely taken aback. And Neha realized that, she used to be a little timidly built. So she realized that, rugby is a game meant for all shapes and sizes. It's not only you have to be big and strong and tall, and nothing like that.
Correct.
Even
Correct.
the
That is.
the, the lean and the fast guys, have a place on the team. So so that's how our journey actually together happened into the team.
Wow. This is amazing. Amazing story. And how did physiotherapy happen?
Well, that also happened thanks to rugby. I since actually eighth standard, I knew that I wanted to do something with sport and with
Okay.
human beings. Like
Okay.
I wanted to have a perfect merge of the two. So I looked up a lot of things, and the only thing that kept coming to my head was psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? it has to move beyond this. There's not, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. So in 2009, I got a chance to represent the first ever Indian women's team that was sent
Correct.
to
Correct.
participate. I was there on that team, and we went to Pattaya in Thailand. So while
Okay.
we were there, we were in the stadium between two matches. We were just chilling, just cool down, and we had a gentleman in our team who was not the coach, who was not the management, but he was there, and he was
Mm.
very vital in having us recovered and prepared for the next game.
Mhm.
And I realized that every team had this person on board who wore a nice sling around their waist and had all like magic equipments in them that they run on the field and they remove these equipments, use them on the athletes, and then come off and the athlete begins to run. So I was like, you know what? Who is this person? What does this person do?
Ah.
And then the guy on our team, he said, you know what? This is what physiotherapy is, and I'm a physiotherapist, and this is it what used to be called a paramedical at that point of time. Oh, this is very interesting. I mean, you can get to be in the field of sport with athletes, with human beings. I'm like, this is a perfect blend of what I want to do. So I returned 10th के board exams हो गए, अच्छा score आ गया. So then I looked up what you need to do to become a physiotherapist. The first thing was to take science. I was like, अरे बाप रे. But
That's the
thanks
most
to
difficult part. I wanted to become an astronomer, and I really wanted to become an astronomer. But then my teachers told me that your math should be outstanding. I was like, forget it, I'm not going to be an astronomer. I don't want to go.
no, but the thing, Siddhartha, the awesome part about it is that firstly, my father also, he was very particular that I took science as
Oh,
the next step. And he said
okay.
that take science because then you have a field of opportunities in front of you.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I did that. I took science, and it was not that hard as people said it to be. But
Mhm.
also, being an athlete for so many years of my life before this, um, it it was like another challenge to me that
Okay.
you have to run this 100-meter race and you have to win it. So taking up science, yes, was very challenging mentally just because of the whole stigma behind it that athletes don't take science.
Correct.
And we've gone my whole schooling. I've just continuously heard this that all the athletes took arts, and it was
Mm.
just almost like this. It was like a stigma, it was just like a stereotype.
Mhm.
So it was just that thing in my mind. And when I took science, I realized it's really not that bad. It actually is so. It's such a vast universe in itself, and it's so interesting that I started taking to the subject. And then I started prioritizing, rugby and then studying rugby and studying because and then socializing would happen obviously because I was teenager back then.
Mhm.
But these two things remain the strong pillars of my life,
Correct.
and everything then revolved around that. So I took science, and then I was like, okay, come on now, it's time to become a physiotherapist. So my first day of college, I remember walking into the classroom, and it's in this building, and I'm like, where's the ground? Where are the athletes?
Mm.
Should I be carrying my own, sling bag across my waist? Very confused and very like, what am I going to get into? And I walk into this classroom with a centralized AC system and a blackboard and a teacher standing in front with the lab coat on. I'm like, why aren't everybody in sports clothes? Why is everybody so formally dressed up? And I'm like, chalo, theek hai, maybe just, that introduction class is going on.
Uh-huh.
And then I spoke to a couple of seniors, and then I was like, oh shit, I have to spend 4.5 years in a classroom to learn what is to be done on the field. But so that's how physiotherapy happened. And I must say that through the 4.5 years, I learned so much that my mind didn't just go into sport; it just widened out so much
Mm.
from there that I mean, today sport physiotherapy is not my main domain at all. What
Mhm.
I got into it, it's completely changed.
Outstanding. Wow. So last year we all had to sit at home, even if
Yeah.
we didn't want to, but we had to. Even this year, for a month, I guess we had to sit at home. So what was Vahbiz doing at home, and what was she missing last year? I'm sure she was missing the field,
Mhm.
definitely. But
Yeah.
how is Vahbiz on the field as a captain, as a physiotherapist, as a player, and how is she at home? Like if you minus the rugby from her at home, what is Vahbiz at home?
I think everyone's home has a common captain, and that's their mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then you cannot. There is no say in that, then you do as per what the matriarch says. So actually, Vahbiz at home is one who contributes into the house, and now through the lockdown, actually, I found it very peaceful to sweep and swap my house and keep my room and the house clean. So I would do that was my daily routine. Like I would do jhadu pocha every day, and because I had a medical ID, I was seeing patients on only emergency basis if they were like completely like they really needed therapy. So I would see about 2 patients a day.
Wow. Okay.
So I'd see 2 patients a day, get back home, finish the chores, फिर breakfast lunch dinner तो होता ही था, and I would set my evening like 6 o'clock. My whole day revolved around 6 o'clock in the evening because that was the time that I had to do my training, come what may. And it was after a very long time that I actually explored the terrace of my building. I think all of us did.
ये इतना बड़ा है मुझे पता ही नहीं था.
And like we would go sometimes just to have a bit of fresh air, but not so much that I actually ended up measuring the terrace. So we have a square terrace, which is so I actually ended up measuring it, and I was like, okay, this is this much. So if I have to run this much meters, I have to do that many rounds, and I have like complete measurements of my terrace. So yeah, and also like just beneath the terrace there are flats where people live in. So there was some corners that we could train, and then there was those corners which was absolute no because if we ran, the steps they could hear it underneath, and so there was this whole. I completely understood my terrace's characteristics completely.
Wow.
Everything revolved around 6 o'clock, and if I had a spare time in the morning, I would also push a 10 o'clock session just because I had the time.
Okay.
So that was me at home. Vahbiz on field is very task driven and specific. Like we must do this, and we win. Then that is a bonus. But we step on to the field to win, but we more so want to step onto the field to play good rugby. We want to have fun. So Vahbiz on the field is semi assertive and more particular about what she wants from the
wow. Great.
Yeah.
I want to understand what is rugby to you after 5 years? What do you think? How it will be in India? What will happen to Indian rugby in next 5 years?
Oh, it will grow leaps and bounds, Siddharth, because we have been very fortunate to have received the government grant from the Sports Authority of India, from Odisha government. Odisha government has tied hands with Rugby India, the union, the Indian Rugby Football Union, for a time span of 3 years.
Wow.
And is sponsoring the game. Also in Odisha itself, in Bhubaneswar, there is an institute called Kalinga Institute of Information Technology.
Okay.
So they partnered in to sponsor the food and the boarding completely and the ground. So we have had a lot of support coming in for us in this past year, actually, which is gonna really. I mean, we saw what happened to hockey, right? A little bit of support, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of money, and they've come on. They've got the silver and the 4th place.
Of course.
Yeah, that's unreal. So this happening to rugby. If you look at it 3 years from now, it's just gonna be. We've from 2009. It's sort of come up like that. They've gone there. then it had a little lift again in 17, 18, 19. And obviously 2020, 2021 was a little bit of a plateau. And now it's just going to go boom, up there.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
yeah, we're getting Fast and Up is partnered in with us. We have jersey sponsors as BLK. So everyone is pulling in. It's like an ecosystem that is pulling in to help uplift the game. So if you're asking me in the next 5 years, it's going to be next level. But I'm talking about next 3 years, it's going to be somewhere. So
Okay.
currently, our under 18 girls team, they participated in Tashkent. Now these are a bunch of girls who are fresh to contact rugby. They've played very little contact rugby in their life. All they've played is touch rugby because before the pandemic they were 14 and 15, and after the pandemic they're 16 and 18. So they suddenly had to play uh, contact rugby and for the nation. So it was a double whammy on them. But the kind of support that we got, these girls got the silver medal back home.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
and in just six weeks of training, 6 weeks of training, and these girls really they performed the best.
Wow.
So I think when you're looking, and this is just 6 weeks now, can you imagine 3 years? What magic
can
is going to
happen?
do? So
That's what
yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask. That every sport, previously, if we come down to academics, all we knew was there's engineering, then you can become a doctor, or you can go into commerce, and that's it. That's all we knew. Like say around 20 years ago, that's all we knew. They're only science, arts, commerce. That's it. That's all you can do. You don't have to do anything else. You go to arts or you go to science or commerce. That's it. Similarly, it is about sports. This is what I feel. It is about sports. Initially, I guess it was all about hockey. It was all about cricket. But now, each and every sport is taken sincerely, is considered, and they're taking it seriously. Like even the players, the authorities, and the government. They have started to take care of that sport. They are not just showing it around. They are not just showing it off. They have literally started to take care of the sport and the sports persons. So what do you think is a government's responsibility towards rugby India, and what is your, as a team leader or um, uh, as a brand ambassador of Indian rugby, what is your responsibility to Indian rugby and the government's responsibility to Indian rugby?
It's actually tali ek haath se nahi bachti hai.
Definitely.
I always say that to a lot of people, that we have support coming in, but we can't take for granted that this support is going to get our performance up.
Correct.
Our performance is based on our responsibility.
Correct.
My performance is my responsibility. I can't say that oh, I'm running slow because XYZ didn't give me enough money. So it doesn't make sense. But now that XYZ is giving me the money, now I have a little bit of better food to eat. Maybe that can help me run better. But that is my responsibility to use that resource to get better and not get complacent.
Okay.
So as they are giving in their support, uh, you know, I don't know how to say this, but unfortunately, money and trust, are the two ways that any body can give to a sporting authority for the upliftment of a game. Because
Correct.
you trust their plan, you sponsor it, and then when they're giving in that, it's my responsibility individually as an athlete to live up to that expectation, to reciprocate to that support that is given. So this is how I look at it, and this is what I keep telling I was telling even the junior girls that you guys are getting this and it's great, but you have to understand that. I mean, we all learned it from Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. So it's that cycle. You just have to keep uh, understanding where you are and what you are receiving, and live up to that. Because in the field of sport is brutal. If you're not good enough, you're just going to get cut off.
Definitely.
And then you can't complain. Then you can definitely not complain.
Definitely not.
You got to keep being your best, because you have to live up to that expectation, and you have to live up to that standard.
Nice. See, it seems like you have been tackling the opposition for the last 12 years in this exciting game, a brilliant game. But did you face any opposition in your life which you found almost impossible to tackle?
No, Siddharth, honestly, I haven't received that, and I've been very lucky to not receive it. But
Amazing.
I also am a person where, it's written on my face that I don't give a shit of what you think.
Correct.
If you think that a girl is not supposed to play rugby, then fair enough. That's your perspective, but I will continue to play the sport. It's not going to stop me. We did have I did have many well-wishers telling me that, okay, bus now, don't play sport. Now focus on your career.
Correct.
You have to make a client base for yourself in the city. All the same thing.
And I guess this is the opposition which you don't see in the game. You see your opponents, that they're standing, they're coming towards you. But these opponents, you just can't see them. They come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like they're standing right behind you, and they're telling you, "Abhi bus kar yaar, chalo abhi mujhe roti bana ke de do yaar, please." That's what you do that best. So I'm sure you must have gone through this and without any fear you have gone through this. So that's what I asked you. How
like
did you manage that?
Because I come from a well-to-do background, also it is a little bit of a confidence booster. But I do know that the girls who come from the rural India, and who come from the villages of our country, they have faced a lot of shit in the past. They've actually have had to lie to their parents that they're going to study to their friend's place, but actually come for a training session.
Wow.
Or I always say this, share this story to everybody who interviews me. We have a girl from Orissa. Her name is Sanjukta, and she comes from one of the villages in Orissa. And her parents initially, so all the kids, the tribal kids who were a part of the Indian team, they go to this school called the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences. You should look it up. It's actually it's a brilliant school where KG to PG, all these kids are given free food, clothing, education, whatever they want. So one of these girls, so Sanjukta, she was in that institute, and that's how she ended up playing rugby. And when she was playing rugby, her parents initially didn't know because they're back at home. So she goes back home and tells her parents that for the first time when she got selected to play for India, that I've got selected to represent India and I'm going to travel to the tournament. So they said, "What is this sport?" And then she explained it to them. And when the village people speak with each other, then it's almost like Chinese whispers. And the word of mouth went across that it's a contact game. Now a woman playing contact sport, oh my god, no, she can't play. So more than the parents, it was their neighbors and the village, other people in the village that were sort of bad mouthing her and telling her that no, you can't play this game, men are supposed to play this game. And they also had that thing that contact sport means a man's game. You
Correct.
come back and you study and you do all your thing, but you come back home and you take care of the home. And she not only represented India once, but she ended up representing India for 8 straight years. And now that mentality in her village has changed from Sanjukta, don't play rugby, to I want my child to be like Sanjukta.
Wow.
Yeah. And that is, I think that has been the most beautiful that I have actually come across, where she's changed the mindset of her entire neighborhood. Can you imagine what that does? And this is what our girls have actually had to tackle to get the sport up to a certain extent.
Wow, this is so amazing. Vahbiz, I want to know about your plans. What are you doing next for your sport? what do you think you should do now? And what is your dream? What do you want to do?
So my personal dream is that I really want to represent India in the Olympics.
Wow.
And I want to, I believe that my purpose and my journey in the sport will be to take the team till there and then possibly hang my boots. Uh, Whenever that happens, hopefully soon. Uh,
I'm
so
sure.
take the team till there, and I guess that's where my journey with professional rugby or playing for the national team will uh, come to a standstill.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know. I think that, but my aim is to represent India in the Olympics, and this is my personal aim. My target for the team is, as of now, currently in the rugby sevens category, we stand at rank number 9.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see the team coming into the top 5 within the next 4 to 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. This is amazing, Vahbiz. You'll think that I'm lying, but I'm not.
No, I know you're
I'm
not.
really excited right now to talk to you. This is, I'll tell you honestly, I'll confess something. I did not know anything about rugby. Like, I did not know
Yeah, no,
anything
I
about
wouldn't
this
be
sport.
surprised.
Yeah, I did not know anything. And I, when I got to know that I'm interviewing you, I didn't know what am I supposed to ask you. But when I started to research you, then I realized there's so much to talk. And instead of talking, there's so much to ask, there's so much to explore. And this is
Yeah.
what I'll consider myself as, I don't know what, as an Indian society who has been ignorant to so many different kinds of sports. And I guess this is the time when we all should think that India is not just about cricket. It's not
Cricket.
just
Yeah,
about
yeah.
cricket. It's not just about IPL. It's so much more, and it's so much exciting. And people like you will help us, will help each and every person to think that way. That India is about thousands of different sports, thousands of different people, thousands of different exciting games which you
Yeah.
can consider. Thank you so much. That's all I can say. Another thing, I have a request. I want to watch your game when that can happen.
So a lot of our matches are telecasted on YouTube or
Okay.
on the Asia Rugby Facebook page, which
Okay.
is also linked to the Rugby India Facebook page.
I'm saying
So
live game. I'm saying a live game.
live. Oh, like
No,
you want to sit there
not
and
on
watch?
TV. Not on TV. I want to sit
Oh,
and
okay.
watch.
Oh, wow. Okay, so right now, actually on the 9th of October, we're going to go for camp, a national camp, which is
Okay.
going to be lasting for 6 weeks.
Okay.
And in the end of November, we are going to be participating in a tournament that is to be held in Dubai.
Oh wow.
So that's, if you can come to Dubai, then
Wow. That was
wonderful.
so intelligently done. Thank you so much. I was expecting somewhere near Navi Mumbai or somewhere near that, and you went directly to Dubai. Okay, I'll try. Let's
If
see.
Siddharth, if you're from Bombay, actually, some really exciting news that had come to us recently was that so Aditya Thackeray, or one of them,
Uh-huh.
has agreed to sanction a ground specifically for rugby in
Wow.
Bombay. Yeah. Now I don't know the details, but this
Okay.
is great news. So Bombay Gymkhana is obviously there, but
Yes.
that
Yes.
ground
Yes.
is used by everybody. It's also used for cricket, but this ground that they're talking about is specifically for rugby. And
Wow.
they've yeah the deal has already been cleared off. It's
Mhm.
just now development work that's to be done on it.
I pray to God that that day comes as soon as possible. And
Thank you,
Vahbiz,
Siddharth.
it was an honor. It was a beautiful thing to
Thank,
talk to you. I had a lot of
thank you.
fun. And
Same here. It was actually a lovely interview. Thank you.
thank you so much.